So I have a question. Will you survive the zombie apocalypse? Are you prepared for the day, or rather the night, when the undead will roam the streets, looking for fresh flesh? No? Well, me neither. But some people have spent a lot of time thinking about it. There's a lot of debate about the choice of weapon for killing zombies. Chainsaw, cricket bat, shotgun, they all have their fans. And if you go on Amazon, you can find no shortage of advice. There are more than 200 books, plus lots of zombie survival kits and other handy things to help you through. Now, of course, human zombies aren't real. At least, I don't think so. But zombie websites are real. And I'd like to spend a few minutes thinking about how to spot them and what to do about them. So here's an example of a zombie website. There are a number of things that make this easy to spot as something half dead. There's the ghastly color, the awful, awful layout. And although it's true that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it's hard to imagine anyone, not even the template designer who created this, ever thought it was beautiful. And this ugliness is not just skin deep. If we take a quick look at the HTML, we can see another horror. Yep, this is constructed from tables. They're using tables for layout. Now, you might think, well, so what? But actually what that means is that both machines and people are going to have a hard time reading and using this site. Constructing sites in this way was a no-no 5 years ago, and it's a practice long gone in the outside world. But in website builders, especially those used by hosting companies, this is still happening, even today. Standard support is important. It's one of the things that makes websites accessible to people and machines. This zombie website, though, doesn't have support for commonly held standards. What that means is that to meet with compliance regulation, they had to create a whole extra site, a whole extra accessible website just to make up for the first one not working properly. Now, accessibility is very important, but it should be built in, not added on. And of course, something this old and this dead isn't responsive. It predates the age of mobile and touch devices. If we look in the top left, we can see bitmap text. In other words, this isn't actually text, it's a picture of text. This means it can't be read, searched, indexed, and in fact it's got no purpose at all other than allowing particularly ugly fonts to be used. So overall we could say that one way to spot a zombie website is the bad smell. This looks bad, smells bad, is bad. The only sensible thing for a customer, an end user to do, confronted with a zombie website like this, is to run. And that's what we call churn. Now, there's lots of talk, especially at conferences like this one, about small and medium businesses, SMBs, or SMEs in some markets. We talk to lots of SMBs, particularly the very smallest, the 1 to 9 person companies. And these companies have a deep personal interest in their business and how it looks. In the UK, according to some government research published last year, there are about 5 million of these micro businesses. So obviously we haven't talked to all of them, but we have talked to quite a few. One of the things that comes out from talking to these people directly is their enthusiasm for technology that promotes their business. And these people are growing fast. They have growing ambitions, and the number of them is the largest growing segment in the UK sector. Amazingly enough, about 25% of them still don't have a website. Of those that do, about 65% expect to update or replace their site in the next 3 years. Now, these figures are only for the UK, but my expectation is that SMBs in other countries, other places, have the same ambitions and the same intentions. So this is a growth market. There's lots of opportunity, but the opportunity is lost if the websites are zombies. Now, you don't need to talk to a small business owner for long to realize that they have an intense personal investment, a personal pride in what they do. And they'll spend a lot of time thinking about logos and colors and brochures and all sorts of things to do with their business. It matters because it's personal. And nobody wants an ugly business website. First impressions are important. And if the first impression a website makes is, as is likely, on a mobile device, and it's a bad impression, then that is very, very bad for a business. So obviously, it should look good. And the best way to ensure that is to have a responsive website. Now, many people, even here, are still talking about mobile optimization as if this is some kind of a solution. But it's not. Taking a website made for one format, crunching it into another, and then giving the user a whole extra process to make something that still doesn't work on a tablet isn't a good solution. It's extra steps, another learning curve, and you've still got to fiddle with the DNS settings before it works. It's no more than a sticking plaster. Older site builders, ones that predate the responsive age, have to treat this device like a PC. Old site builders don't know about anything that isn't a PC. But whichever way you look at it, this is not a PC. And shrinking a big, inflexible web page to fit this screen won't work. Using a mobile optimizer won't work either. All that does is create a narrow, stacked up, ugly site. So let's recap. We have new customers. The new customers rely on new devices. We can also see that there are new opportunities in a growing market where many people want new websites. Clearly, old websites don't meet these requirements. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely it can't get much scarier, but it can. The zombie website builders, the ones I've seen, seem to date round about the same time as Windows XP. You may have read recently that Microsoft are ending support for Windows XP and often seem to be a bit mystified about why so many people still run it. But there's a reason why old software, old zombie website builder software in particular, just like Windows XP, persists. People keep selling old stuff because new stuff is expensive. It's expensive to develop and hard to deploy. Grand Theft Auto, the most recent version, is reported to have cost about $170 million. And just like computer games, the cost of making a good website builder keeps going up. So it's hard. It's very hard if you don't have proper funding and a good business model to be able to afford to develop new software. Now, site builders don't cost as much as GTA, at least not yet, but they are expensive. And change hurts. Implementing a new site builder, hooking it up to all the other parts of the production process, the package selection, the payment process, all of these things. It's change. It's painful to do. You have to retrain people. You have to explain it to customers. It's difficult. But the cost, the pain of not doing it is actually much worse. Old site builders cost more than new ones, a lot more in some cases. These old products come with old business models. You get absolutely terrible per-server licensing deals that penalize you for offering a better service to your customers by charging you more every time you add another server. You get terrible rip-off maintenance pricing, all sorts of nasty stuff. And you get less. Your customers get a less competent product, and you get higher rates of churn. It's painful. A good business model, good site builder, shares risk. And when the customer wins, everyone wins. So maybe like me, you've been following some of the stuff in the press about the new TLDs and some of the figures. And there's lots of excitement from some people, less from others, skepticism from some. But I think there are new opportunities here. And I think also it's likely that some of these new TLDs, quite a lot, will end up being purchased by small businesses. I can't prove that, and it's too early to look at the numbers, but let's go with it for now. Some of these domains clearly imply a certain kind of functionality. For example, if you've just bought a .menu domain, I think there's a reasonable chance you might just want to put a menu on the website. And it better be a menu that looks good on all devices, works well in the kitchen, makes it easy to add and subtract items, and can be printed. Only a responsive, properly designed menu system can do all these things. Every domain sold to a user is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for a website, and it's an opportunity for an ongoing relationship. But if that relationship's going to last, the experience is going to have to be good. And it's going to have to be good right from the start. Unless the onboarding is as silky smooth as the rest of the process, then we can already see, when we watch customers, they start to turn away. We start to lose them from the very first click. Every part of the process, purchasing the domain, setting up the control panels, all of it needs to be one smooth, integrated process. This is where customers start to decide if they trust you, your products, and your offering. So a good experience requires end-to-end simplicity, not just simplicity in one part. Back in the old days, a long time ago, maybe 3 years, we might have expected customers to spend some time learning about HTML and CSS and FTP and DNS and all of that stuff that used to be required to build a website. But things have changed. The experience of touch devices, the experience of being able to download and use new software immediately with no instructions and no preparation and no manuals to read and no acronyms to understand has become the default experience for customers using software. in the iOS store alone, there are over 1 million different apps. I'm confident I could use pretty much all of them. I'm not confident I could use all of these control panels. This is one set of control panels from one account aimed at small business customers. So it should be love at first sight. If it's going to be, then that first sight needs to be something good. We need to see something simple, beautiful, and easy to learn. Just look at the face of a customer when they first see your product. It's a much better guide than a survey. We're not making stuff for stupid people. We're making stuff for busy people. SMBs are busy. They have a business to run. If stuff takes too long, they won't do it. So we think the apocalypse is here. And we think the best way to avoid it is to have a site builder that builds beautiful, responsive websites. So, beautiful, responsive, simple. Please come and talk to us. Thank you.
Good point, everyone.